Good morning from the island of Ibiza. I've just arrived at a national park in the very southern tip of the island called Salinas National Park. It's about 3,000 hectares of land and about 13,000 hectares of marine habitat. The area starts just south of the airport and actually goes across the small gap between Ibiza and Formentera. It's exceptionally beautiful. I've arrived here at first light to do a full day of birding. The sun is just poking its head out behind me there. I've got, like I said, the full day here. We're going to explore the northern section, the western section around the airport, and then further south right down to the point, if time allows. And then I will show you all around. I've been here before, but 10 years ago, so there's a few more hides we can visit. And then also what I want to do is revisit a Balearic Warbler location that I was at 10 years ago and dipped. So I want to give it another go now that I've got a little bit more experience and know what I'm looking for. So yeah, I'll take you along for the ride. Let's enjoy the day. It's going to be a stonker. There's hardly any clouds, no wind. It's like perfect conditions. And we will see what we can find. The sun's coming. The sun's coming. We've got a lot of work to do. So I hope you enjoy the ride.
Situated in the western Mediterranean, Ibiza is the third largest of Spain's Balearic Islands, lying about 80 kilometers east of the Iberian Peninsula. Covering roughly 570 square kilometers, the island's landscape is characterized by rugged coastlines, low-lying hills, pine-clad ridges and fertile plains. Its irregular shoreline covers over 200 kilometers, dotted with dramatic cliffs, hidden coves and sandy beaches, shaped by centuries of wind and wave action. The climate is typically Mediterranean, with hot dry summers and mild wetter winters, supporting both lush greenery and arid terrain. Despite its relatively small size, Ibiza supports a remarkable range of biodiversity. The island's forests are dominated by Aleppo pines and carob, fig and olive trees, dispersed with aromatic shrubs such as rosemary, thyme and lavender. Its waters are home to extensive meadows of seagrass, protected as a UNESCO World Heritage Treasure for its role in sustaining marine ecosystems. Ibiza also provides habitat for a variety of bird life, including Balearic warblers, Eleanor's falcons and Audouin's gulls, and a lot of migratory species that use the island as a stopover point. Terrestrial wildlife is more limited, with reptiles like the endemic Ibiza war lizard being amongst the most distinctive residents. This interplay of rugged Mediterranean geography and rich, if delicate, ecosystems make Ibiza a unique natural setting, distinctive from its reputation as a cultural and nightlife hub. But of course we're here to see the birds, and arguably the best place on the island to do so is Salinas National Park, one of Ibiza's most treasured natural landscapes, celebrated for its ecological, cultural and historical value. Stretching from the south of Ibiza to the north of Formentera, the park encompasses shimmering salt flats, pristine sandy beaches and crystal clear waters, and a diverse range of habitats that supports remarkable biodiversity. Recognized as a UNESCO World Heritage Site, Salinas is home to more than 210 bird species, including flamingos that gather in the wetlands alongside extensive meadows of seagrass, vital for maintaining the island's crystal clear waters. Beyond its natural wonders, the park bears witness to centuries of salt production, a tradition that shaped the island's history and identity. Today it stands as both a sanctuary for wildlife and a place of beauty, where visitors can experience Ibiza's unique balance of nature and heritage. Considering the size of the island, the park is relatively big at around 17,000 hectares, but with very few parking opportunities. So I recommend parking in the north away from the busy beaches in the south. There are two free easy spots, with the first being at the little church of San Francisco on the BM 802. It's a former 18th century church built for the salt workers in the area, but now houses the interpretation center for the park and gives you a great starting point to explore from as you get out the car. But be careful of the busy road there.
So I've just parked up there at like a little sort of religious monastery church thing, and the birding starts straight away. These are vast salt flats, as the name suggests, Salinas. Salinas are sort of salt works. There's a lot of birds all over the place, so I better get my binos on and start scanning. Unfortunately, we're a little bit early in the seasons for all the arrivals, so most of the flamingos, for instance, start arriving from August until about October, and I think they overwinter here, escaping the cold from up north. There are a few greater flamingos on that side. There's shelduck, cattle egret I've had over, black-winged stilt. Yeah, that's a black-winged stilt calling in the background. Coming towards us here, flying. It's probably got young nearby. And then this sort of coastal scrubland will be good for like zitting cichlids and maybe a few larks, I'm not sure, but we'll see what we can find. Unfortunately, one of the disadvantages of this place is that the Ibiza airport is literally right here, so every now and again you just get like this extremely loud noise of a plane landing or taking off, which is about to be the case now again. A couple of shelduck in here.
Shelduck first bred on Ibiza back in the 1980s and more recently on Formentera in 1995. Shelduck are largely resident across most of Western Europe, where they frequent salt marshes and estuaries.
Greater flamingo. There's a few things around the edges there as well. I've had Sardinian warbler in here. There's another plane about to go off here. The salt flats are huge. They go all the way down to the coast on that side. Here's the new hide that I haven't been in, so we'll go and have a look at that. Just flushed a Kentish plover from this side and flew to the other side. I suspect there's a few more Kentish plovers on that edge there. Got something in the path. Male house sparrow. Yeah, there's a very popular beach in between those two hills there. So this road becomes extremely busy, unfortunately, and this is just the start of this morning's traffic. So this wetland is under a lot of pressure from tourists wandering around and disturbing the wildlife, and obviously the cars zipping by. So yeah, it's unfortunately it's a high pressure national park, unfortunately, under a lot of threat from tourism. But still beautiful nonetheless.
Osprey is one of Ibiza's iconic bird species, with birds moving through on migration and breeding on the Balearics. With frequent sightings of this bird around the park, a project was initiated to encourage the species to naturally recolonize Salinas National Park. Most years, ospreys overwinter in the area, giving fantastic views.
There's a lot of green sands around the edge here as well, so we're just going to go into the hide here and sit and see if they'll come closer for a shot.
We'll be visiting two new bird hides in a blind today, which were recently built around the park. This one, called the Roig Pan or Lake Hide, overlooks a large salt pan on the eastern edge of the western section of the park. And as you can see by the parked car there, this is also the second spot you can easily park your car at.
I'm going to take a walk down here. There's like a farmland around the corner here. I just saw a hoopoe fly over as well. So this hide is located in the northeast section of the western part of the Salinas. So nice all the birds you can see here. Actually got a wood sand down here.
Wood sandpipers breed in subarctic wetlands, from the Scottish Highlands in the west, east across Eurasia and the Palearctic. They then migrate to Africa, South Asia and Australia in our winters.
Wood sandpipers just over here. Flying. And just 12 curlew sandpipers have just flown in as well. And another 4, 16.
Curlew sandpipers breed on the tundra of Arctic Siberia. These birds are adults in brick red breeding plumage. They migrate south to mainly Africa for the winter.
So this hide has actually been pretty productive. I've only been sitting here about 10 minutes, and in that time I've had wood sand, little stint, common ring plover, green sandpiper, wood sandpiper, curlew sandpiper, black-winged stilt, shell duck, greater flamingo, cattle egret, flyover, yellow-legged gull. Yeah, so it's a great little spot, obviously early morning before things get disturbed. But this is the first time I've been in this hide, and it's great, fantastic. Hoopoe over as well. Sardinian warbler calling from the shrubs in front of us. Very productive. And not another birder in sight. So I'm just going to leave that hide behind us, which is just behind me there. And we will move over to another new hide that I've not been to before. I'm not sure how to get there, so it's going to be a little bit of trial and error on my side. I think it's about a 10-minute walk, which is on the western side of the eastern side of the Salinas, divided by this quite busy road. So on the eastern side of the Salinas, there's a much smaller, elongated set of salt pans. Lots of Xitting cisticulars around here. And there's a nice path that goes all the way along the northern side of that. So I'll just take a slow walk along there and see what we can find, visiting the hide in the process, and then we'll turn around, come back, maybe pop into this hide again just to have another look. And then we'll go down and jump into the car. There's lots of birds in this coastal scrub here behind me. It's great habitat. There's Sardinian warblers, Xitting cisticulars, house sparrows, things like that. And then we may jump in the car and take a little ride, see what we can find on the salt flats further down on the western side again. Like I said, I don't know where this path is, so we're just going to wing it. We may have to trace ourselves back and then go back up, but hopefully there's a connecting path here. Make our walk a bit shorter. Extremely busy airport this. Starts kicking off at about 7ish, so you don't have much time with no noise, unfortunately. Very busy in the mornings and then seems to settle in the afternoon, and then in the evenings again. Nice private jet going there. So unfortunately this is the busy road we've got to cross now. Okay, I'm not sure if this is or isn't the right way, but there seems to be a path here, so we'll just follow it. We need to connect to a path on the other side there, and then it will go to the left. It's already quite warm. I'm well aware that this is not the right time of the season to be visiting the Balearics. Kind of right towards the end of summer, or in the middle of summer, where you get the hottest temperatures, etc., etc. Okay, so this is the road in front of us that we need to be on. So that wasn't too bad. Okay, I can already see our hide up front there, just to the right of that building. It's far less water this side, as I said, sort of midway through summer. So another Sardinian warbler. I presume at the right time this will all be full of water, so it'll be much better. And this would be all full of water. You can see this salt remaining here. That looks like a path there as well, but I don't think I'm going to go that way. Let's head this way. I have a feeling that this hide is going to not be working due to lack of water. So that'll just shut us down real quick. But anyway, I'll take you down there and have a look. I've never been here before, so I might as well. It's amazing. Look at this. This is just salt left in this pan. The pan doing what it should be doing, creating salt. Yeah, unfortunately there's no water in there, so it's going to be a waste of time, I think. But I'm still going to walk the salt flats, the northern edge. Hopefully there'll be pans with water in them.
This is the second of the two new hides in the park, this one on the western side of the eastern section of the park, called Red Salt Hide. It overlooks the now vegetated pan to its west, and contrary to what you see here, unfortunately when I visited, the pan was completely dry.
So this is the hide coming up here on the right. Hopefully it'll be looking over into some water. The house sparrows in these reeds. Actually, I think it could be looking over that way, so hopefully there'll be some water. Yeah, unfortunately no water. I'll just show you around the hide. Very nice. Look to be fairly new, so, and again all the information boards, of which I have not seen much. This is the view from the hide. If there was water, that would be quite good, I reckon. Okay, let's move on. Okay, I've just had my second and third turtle dove on these wires. There's one remaining there. Sadly, they are a fast diminishing species here in the Mediterranean. It's a very sad situation. Lovely bird. Okay, this is a nice little hotspot for turtle dove. I've got a family party of 4 there, and in the background there on the wires and stuff I've got a whole bunch more. They keep flying down onto the fallow field at the back. There's a whole bunch of them, which is nice to see. Red-legged partridge. Starlings as well. So yeah, worthwhile coming down to this waterless section of the salt pans. A few little stints and things like that in this little section of wet area on this salt pan. Unfortunately the other pans are bone dry, so I'm not sure how worth it is. Is it in testicular here in front of us? Okay, this place may be dead with regards to waders and things like that, but there are tons of turtle doves, which is lovely to see. Lots of visiting testiculars, more turtle doves landing there. Yeah, that sounds like there's more water in this. Oh, there's a baby little chick ring plover there. Amazingly, there was a ring plover with a chick here, and when I went from the DJI action cam to my camera, literally there's not a piece of vegetation here. I lost the chick. So it's obviously just sat down and blended in perfectly with the surrounds. There's a sitting testicular coming in and out of this tree here, so I'm just going to spend a bit of time and see if I can get a shot or two. Sadly, yet another dry pan. I suspect in the right season this will be quite productive, these pans. There's a few flamingos in that back pan there. The surrounding scrubland is pretty good, but of course you want to be here for the waders. Lots of zitting testiculars, turtle dove, Sardinian warblers, things like that. So if that's your thing, this is where you need to come. Swift above us here. Nice hunting party of swift. I love a swift, so I've just stopped to take a few photographs. House martin mixed in for good measure. A little bit distant now. Okay, coming closer. Beautiful. 2 turtle dove and like 8 wood pigeons on that telephone wire. Nice big mixed flock of linnet and seren in this field here just in front of that white house. It's getting very hot very quickly, so got my classic bottle of frozen water, my classic Mediterranean birding tip in the backpack. We'll be turning around shortly. There's just little things all over the place, so even though there's, like I said, there's no water in here, sadly, there is stuff all over the place here. I've just had my swifts and house martin joined by a pair of barn swallows, which is nice. What's this sitting in these dead trees here? Seren. More siren. More swifts up above. Yeah, so quite productive this walk along here. Another pair of zitting testiculars. Sardinian warbler again still. So yeah, totally worth still coming down here. Yellow-legged gulls. There are Flamingo in that back pond, the only pond with water still, so I will try and get around, but I'm not sure I'm going to be able to get there for you. But if I can't, we're going to turn around and head back. So I've got the national park on the right and hotel on the left. So yeah, if this was full, you'd have great salt pan viewing. This will be rammed full of waders. Anyway, see what we can find there. Okay, on this wire across here there's a siren, woodchat shrike, wood pigeon and turtle dove. So I'm just going to see if I can get a good bit closer, fire off a few shots, starting with the siren. No matter where you are in the world, I find the best birding is always out the back of hotels, where the staff never want you to go or see. Just happens to be all the best birding. I've experienced that all over the world. Vietnam, Cambodia, Thailand, South Africa. They always look at you with wide open eyes when they see you walking around with your binos and your camera. They always wonder what the hell you're looking at. And no different on Ibiza. So, yeah, nice little section over there. Wasn't able to get to the things on the wires. They flew before I could get anywhere near. So let's have a little look down here now. We're heading towards what I think is the only wet pan of this entire eastern section of the flats. There's a couple of common plover and some yellow-legged gulls. Okay, thankfully this pan has water in it, so we'll just see how far around we can get and what we can see. So it looks like there's almost too much water in this one. There's no exposed banks for anything to sit on, so it's a case of either no water or too much water. But considering it's a change in habitat, I'm still going to walk around. I have a feeling that the water's here because of the guests at the hotel. They want something to look over, so hence keep the water in the pan. Spotted flycatcher on this row of poles here, so I'm just going to go across here and take a photo across. It's actually a pair there, so that'll be nice.
Mediterranean or spotted flycatchers in the Balearics are currently considered a subspecies, but will soon be lumped into one species with the dominant race. The birds on the islands tend to have paler upper parts, often with more whitish or clean streaks on the crown, less heavy streaking on the breasts, and underwing coverts that tend to be cleaner white. During migration, birds of both the nominant and the island forms can pass through. Okay, just had a nice little Balearic warbler work across here.
through these pines, flew across here, up here, and then up and away. I've lost it now. So that's a nice little find on this side. A little bit better than my attempt 10 years ago where I dipped. I still want to try on the other side by the restaurant. So we'll probably head there now. Actually, it's still there, it's still up high. I don't think this camera is going to help you, but it's feeding quite high up in the pine there. Okay, we'll leave the hotel behind us now. I've just had a look on Google Earth or Google Maps, and this path goes all the way back to where we started off. Spotted flycatcher on the fence line here again, and a turtle dove I think has just flown up into that tree. So we're going to follow this path now all the way back to where we started. These poles with rope strung between them seem to be a little hotspot for spotted flycatchers. Every sort of like 50 meters or so, there's another pair. I've just got another pair set up here, and then if I look further down, there's another pair. And I've just left another pair by the hotel there, so really nice. Loads of spotted flycatchers around here. Linnet over. Had woodchat shrike again as well, hunting from these pines. Hardly any waders up here though on this pan. Is it in testicular? Ah, wader. Looks like a green sand. That flew out of this ditch here. So the problem with filming video is that if anything pops up, you've got no chance. Turn off the DJI, get the big camera out, take shots. There goes the spotted fly under that pole.
Spotted flycatchers in the Med are real characters, and often you'll find them in the most unlikely of places. I've had pairs breeding inside restaurants, hunting from the backs of the restaurant's chairs, completely oblivious to the clientele eating just meters away. An interesting fact about spotted flycatchers is that they molt their flight feathers in sequence, starting from the outermost feather first, then going towards the body, whereas most passerines molt from the body first towards their primaries.
I have a feeling these people up ahead are photographing flamingos. So we'll pop over and have a look and see. Okay, so that's where we've come from. Just had another green sand fly across here. And then, as I suspected, these people are looking at flamingos, greater flamingos, out in the middle of the pan here. It's getting incredibly hot now, so I think things will start slowing down a bit. I'll just scan this edge of this pan, see what we can find.
The greater flamingo is the largest and most widespread of all flamingo species, instantly recognizable by its elegant silhouette, long neck, and striking pink plumage. Found across parts of Europe, Africa, and Asia, it's a characteristic site of salt lagoons, coastal marshes, and shallow wetlands, where it feeds on filtering algae, crustaceans, and small invertebrates from the water, with its distinctive down-curved bill. The pink tones of its feathers come from the carotenoid pigments in its diet, making the bird a vivid symbol of a healthy wetland ecosystem. In the Mediterranean, greater flamingos are particularly associated with salt pans, such as those of Ibiza's Salinas National Park, where large flocks can be seen resting or feeding, especially during migration. Both graceful and resilient, the species is a flagship for wetland conservation, embodying the delicate balance between natural habitats and the traditional activities like salt production.
Okay, so we've just walked down this perimeter path and things are hotting up a little bit. So in this single pan we've got 12, 13, 14 greater flamingos. Then down this side we've got black-winged stilt, common ringed plover, and 2 or 3 green sands just under that sort of little conical sand heap there in the corner. A bit distant, unfortunately, but at least they're there. Okay, the flamingos are actually walking a bit closer, so I'm just going to see if I can get a few more snaps.
While scanning the pan here, a wood sandpiper flew in. I'm not sure if it was the same bird from this morning or another individual. Wood sandpipers don't breed on Ibiza and are only seen during spring migration, which is roughly between March and May, and especially during autumn migration, which occurs between July and October, as they move to and from Africa on their way to their breeding grounds in the north.
Okay, I've come off the main path a bit, and there's a nice little family group of woodchuck shrike here. There's one in that pine, and one was up here and it's just flown behind. But I think there's 3 or 4 birds knocking about here, so I'm just going to have a little play.
Woodchat shrike is a striking and charismatic songbird of open woodlands, farmland, and scrubby landscapes across southern Europe, North Africa, and parts of the Middle East. Easily recognized by its bold plumage, it has a black mask across their eyes, a chestnut red crown and nape, and contrasting white underparts. Like other shrikes, it's nicknamed the butcherbird for its habit of impaling prey, such as large insects, small reptiles, and occasionally other small birds, on thorns and barbed wire to store for food. In the Balearics, the woodchat shrike is a subspecies of the nominate race and lacks the white patches on the primaries, giving the wings a darker appearance, and the black band across the eyes is narrower. It's a summer visitor to the islands, arriving in spring to breed and departing in late summer for its wintering grounds in sub-Saharan Africa. Its presence is often signaled by its upright stance on a prominent perch from which it scans for prey. Both a predator and a songbird, the woodchat shrike plays an important role in Mediterranean ecosystems, and its conspicuous behavior makes it a favorite among birdwatchers exploring Ibiza's open countryside and coastal scrub.
Oh, just had a kestrel. It's my second bird of prey the whole holiday. Still coming, still flying.
Stonechats are fairly common on Ibiza in the right habitat. I found a small family party here, although only the adult male allowed views long enough to be filmed. Largely resident, but populations in colder areas do migrate south to warmer locations. As their name suggests, their call is characterized by a sound likened to 2 stones smacking together.
Okay, yet more Balearic warblers down the bottom here. So many. It's really good to see. I don't know what it is. So far I've had desperately low numbers of raptors, and when I say desperately low, I've had one common kestrel. That's it. Nothing else. No peregrines, no bigger raptors like osprey or marsh harrier or anything like that. Just literally one kestrel. That's all I've had. So yeah, we're back to that crossroad again. Spent a bit too much time with my with the flamingos. Burnt my battery out. When I film video on my big SLR camera, it annihilates the battery. So it's a fine line between getting the footage and being able to stay out longer. But that's okay. I'm here for 2 weeks, so I've got plenty of time. So just heading back to that hide now, and then we'll see if the waders have come a bit closer, because when I was sitting there, they're all obviously flushed away. So I'll sneak in rather than walk along the path facing the pan, flushing everything in the process. I'll sneak across and jump in the hide. Bit of farmland here, no stone curlews unfortunately. Lots of wood pigeons, collared dove, turtle dove, sirens, Sardinian warblers, Zitting cisticulars, all the scrubby, coastal scrubby habitat type of birds for the Mediterranean, except stone curlew. Very dry, a lot of the pans are dry unfortunately, but I just wanted to give you an idea of what the potential could be like if you came in the right season. As I've said before, this isn't a birding holiday, although I'm always birding of course, but more family holiday, so I can only take what I can get unfortunately. Okay, let's get back to that hide. I just had another woodchat shrike hunting there, and loads of linnets and greenfinch working these shrubs along the road here. There we go, greenfinch. Okay, we're back at this hide. I'm just going to use a bit of stealth to get in here again. See if anything's come to this near corner. Just a couple of black wing stilts. And 2 flamingos. Kentish plover. Other Kentish plover, black wing stilt, ring plover, Kentish plover, shelduck. Okay, that turned out to be quite nice. Loads of little stint, sandling, ring plover, Kentish plover, black wing stilt. So yeah, it was worthwhile coming back here. Like I said, my main camera battery is definitely going to die. So what I want to do is I just want to go left here and explore a bit, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to call it a day, head back to Corin, who's still at the villa, because there's no point in me carrying on birding without my main rig camera battery. So I just want to see down here, there's a flock of nice flamingos, but they may be a bit too far, because I think this is a walkway, but it goes to the perimeter fence of the airport, and then along the perimeter fence to the ocean on the west hand side of the park. So there's a walk, it comes out there, and then there's a walk all the way along the pan side to where the restaurant is, where the Balearic warblers can be found, which is more or less there where I'm pointing. But like I said, there's no point in me going for them now when none of my optics are up to scratch, or dead in this case. So I've never been here before, so I just want to do a little bit of exploring, whether it's worthwhile coming back tomorrow or not. Yeah, so like I said, a couple of lizards in the road there. Like I said, this goes away from the wetland or the salt pans towards the airport, and then down the side of the airport. So I'm not too sure what we're going to see down here, but it's always worth a little look. Maybe get a hoopoe or something. I did see a hoopoe earlier today flying this direction. Oh wow, grapes. Lovely. Fantastic. A few flycatchers making use of the vineyards to hunt from. It's nice reed beds here. So this is walking directly north into the airport. Okay, there's a whole bunch of larks underneath these olive trees. I can only presume they are Thekla lark. There they go. Must be about 20 or 30 of them.
A new bird for my Balearic list, greater short-toed lark, is a common bird of dry open country and cultivation. It nests on the ground, laying 2 to 3 eggs. Its food is seeds and insects, the latter especially during the breeding season. It breeds in southern Europe, northwest Africa and across the Palearctic, from Turkey and southern Russia to Mongolia. During migration they form large tight flocks that move in unison. At other times they form loose flocks.
So the nice thing about these walls is that that acts as a blind, so when you arrive at the field you're not flushing all the birds. There's lots of things going on here, lots of larks. So yeah, the path is kind of sunken, so you just have your head sticking out the top, which is brilliant. You can sneak up like this, just poke your head above there. Have a quick scan. Sadly no hoopoes up here. I've just said no hoopoes and there's one right here. Please don't flush, please don't flush. Okay, it's still there.
clocked me and it flew, unfortunately, but I got a few snaps. So that's funny, I was just talking about hoopoe and there it was. Just yeah, in the second tree in. Classic hoopoe habitat this. See if there's another one. No, 2 in one field would be asking too much for my luck, I think. Right, so this is literally the airport in front of us. Sadly, their holiday is ending. Mine's only starting. So, yeah, so I could probably bring the car in here and drive here along here. I'm not going to do that today. Try and preserve my camera battery. So, yeah, I'm going to now turn around, go back towards the car, and call it a day. Well, call it a morning at least. Head back to the villa and charge the batteries. My main battery is flashing on me, so it's going to die any second, no doubt, when there's something going to be showing point blank that I want to show you. But yeah, I'm just going to head off back to the car now. Okay, I've just refound the hoopoe. It's under these olives here, alongside a whole bunch of larks. So I'm going to go down and see if I can shoot under this sort of like black netting that's at the base of all these plants. There's a couple of larks down there as well. Right, the inevitable has happened. My battery has died on me, on my main rig, so no doubt something's going to show amazingly now and I won't be able to capture it. Okay, so that's the western section that I'll do another day. Huge area of salt flats, or salt pans, should I say. And then you can actually get in the car and drive across and to that point there that I mentioned earlier, to a restaurant, park the car there, and that's good for Balearic warblers, I'm told, as well. Like I said, I did try there 10 years ago and dipped, so I'd like to give that another go. See if I can better my zero count from around the restaurant. Our car is parked at the little chapel here. And then it's a little 17-minute drive back to the villa. Lizard here. Ibiza is not big at all. It's the smallest of the 3 Balearics. You can get anywhere on the island like within an hour. So if you're staying in the north, you can get all the way down to the south in 45 minutes. Easy. Roads are quite good, all the main roads. Getting around here is not a problem. Nice and small, unlike Mallorca and Menorca. Once you get on the main roads around here, it's you get to where you need to be fairly quickly. Okay, we've just walked along there, and I just want to show you in here by the little church. They got a little blind here as well. So this is where you want to park, which is sandwiched nicely between the 2 parts of the salt pans at Sant Francesco.
Okay, through the power of video editing, it's now 2 days later and I am back at Salinas. We are going to be doing the western side of the salt pans today. But first I'm going to spend a little bit of time in that little hide in the northeast corner of the western side, because that was quite productive the other day. And I'm doing my little intro in the car here because I want to sneak up into the hide and see if I can catch anything sort of working the bank right in front of the hide. And then afterwards I want to go to the eastern side quickly and do the southern edge. It's only 10 to 7, so the sun hasn't even popped up yet. So I want to spend a bit of time on that side, let the sun get a bit higher, and then we'll go down and do the southern edge of the western side. Unfortunately, the western side is far bigger than the eastern side, but you are not allowed to walk around the pans like you can in the Algarve, unfortunately. So we can just work the sides and the southern edge. But that's okay, because normally the birds show quite well next to the road anyway, so we'll hopefully have point blank views of blackwing, stilt and flamingos down there, and hopefully a few Kentish plovers and things like that. And then if time allows, I may come back and do a little bit of the surrounding section between the western edge and the airport, just dot around and see whether we can pick up like greater short-toed lark, hoopoe and all those things that like we did the other time that we were there. So what I'm going to do now, sneak up into this hide and spend a bit of time just scanning from the hide. Okay, so this morning I parked up right by the hide. The other morning we parked down there and then walked along here, but then I flushed everything along this bank, so we're just going to quickly sneak in and see what we can find. Sun's about to pop out set up, so early morning. I'm going to go in here a bit stealthy, so I'm not going to be talking too much now. So there's not much difference between this morning and 2 days ago with regards to bird species. Couple of Kentish plover, couple of common ring plover, blackwing stilt, common sand, greater flamingo, yellow-legged gull. There's a few things way in the corner, but I can't see them. They're too far from can't ID them because they're too far for just my bins. But what is new for the trip from here this morning is there is a avocet right in the corner, which is new for the trip list. Yeah, unfortunately, even though the western side is massive, there's not much vehicle access or foot access actually in the Salinas. It's good and bad. Bad because I'm looking now and there's tons of birds hidden away in there, but good because this park already has so much pressure on it with regards to tourism and things like that. As I was coming in here, they had a party just to the west of the airport, and they were letting off fireworks, which then flushed out literally all the gulls out of the Salinas. So, and as you can hear behind me, the planes are already starting to come in, and it's only gone 7 o'clock. So I think the less disturbance inside the Salinas, the better, to be honest, even though it's bad for us birders. Yeah, there's just so much pressure on the Salina. And in the south, there's very popular beaches, so you have a lot of people driving backwards and forwards, literally right through the middle of the Salinas. There's like a main road that goes through the middle. So in the time that I've been sitting here, all the party goers have come out of the party, and there's been an accident where I parked the other day, literally right by that little church. So, right about there. He's obviously tried to do a U-turn and someone's just crashed into the side of him. So, another morning in Ibiza.
The little stint is one of the smallest waders in Europe, measuring only 14 to 15 centimeters long. Despite its size, it's a remarkably long-distance migrant, breeding on Arctic tundra in northern Europe and Siberia, and wintering as far south as South Africa and southern Asia. In spring and autumn, it passes through southern Europe, where it's often seen on wetlands, salt pans, and coastal lagoons. Salinas National Park is the best place on Ibiza to see these little birds. Kentish plover are resident breeders on Ibiza, especially here in the park. They have a huge geographical range across Europe, North Africa, and Central and Southern Asia. Some populations are migratory, while others, such as various island populations, do not migrate. Its common English name comes from the county of Kent in the UK, where it was once found in good numbers, but has not bred in Britain since 1979. Kentish plovers are ground nesting birds, often with a preference for low, open, moist nesting sites away from thick vegetation and human activity. They use a number of materials to build their nest, mainly consisting of shells, pebbles, grass and leaves in a small scrape on the ground. Like most plovers, they are predominantly insectivores, feeding on a large range of arthropods and invertebrates, depending on the environment, by using the run and stop method. The avocet genus contains 4 species, but only one occurs in Europe, the pied avocet. Avocets have long legs and long, thin, upcurved bills, which they sweep from side to side when feeding in brackish or saline wetlands. Members of the genus have webbed feet and are good swimmers. Their diet consists of aquatic insects and other small creatures. They nest in a simple hollow in the ground, laying 3 to 4 eggs. The pied avocet is the emblem for the Royal Society for the Protection of Birds. After leaving the hide and walking towards the car, this juvenile flamingo flew in and dropped down right in front of the hide, so I turned around and walked back to get some video quick. Juveniles take around 2 years to develop the pink plumage of the adults. Greater flamingos are highly social, living in large colonies called flamboyances for protection. Flamingos normally lay just 1 egg, and once hatched, the young are raised in community creches. During the breeding season, flamingos enhance their colors by applying secretions from the uropedal glands to their feathers, and can live between 20 and 30 years in the wild.
Okay, so I've come off the main road and I'm just going to drive this little causeway over to the salt works and then out to the right down to the restaurant at the end. That's the salt works in front of us. And then you just ride around the perimeter of the salt works. Okay, so this is the
southern road on the western side. This is as close as you can get to the pans. It still allows you good views into the roadside pans. There is a coastal walk between the beach and the wetland, or the pans, but unfortunately that's now closed due to the breeding season. Black-winged stilt is a very common bird on Salinas around the Mediterranean, and here on Ibiza it's no different. By far the most common wader you'll see in Salinas National Park. You'll find at least several pairs on each pan, noisily defending their territories. Adults are about 33 to 36 centimeters long and have the most amazingly long pink legs. Their legs are disproportionately long, making them the longest relative to body size of any bird. Males have a black back, often with a greenish gloss or sheen. Females' backs have a brownish hue. They are primarily insectivores, feeding on insects, crustaceans, worms, and spiders by plucking them from the water's surface. If you visit at the right time of year, you'll have the most amazing views of adults on nests, and young birds following adults from the southern road on the western side of the park. But please do stay in the car for fear of flushing the adults, leaving the young unprotected. If chicks are threatened, adults may feign injury to lure predators away from their nests. Black-winged stilt are very rare breeders in the UK. The last time this happened, I believe it was 2003, and is thought to be the most northerly breeding success for black-winged stilt. Like I said, at the right time of year you can have the most amazingly intimate views of black-winged stilt and their chicks going about their daily life right from the comfort of your car on the southern road on the western side of the park. This adult male has a pair of chicks tucked away under its wings, and once the adult thought the coast was clear, they eventually popped out and started feeding right next to the road. Even the chicks at this young age are all legs. Common sandpipers have a huge distribution across most of Europe and Asia and migrate to Africa, southern Asia and Australia in the winter. The common sandpiper is usually encountered alone, but will occasionally form small groups, although larger flocks are sometimes formed around migration or at breeding seasonal roosts. It seldom joins multi-species flocks and has a distinctive stiff-winged flight low over the water. It has a distinctive white gap between the neck and the top of the wing, and often stands slightly crouched or leaning forward as it bobs its tail. Of the two ringed plover species on Ibiza, the little ringed plover was the most abundant when I visited. This species differs from the larger ring plover in leg color, head pattern, and the presence of a clear yellow eye-ring. Their breeding habitat is open gravel areas near water, including gravel pits, islands, and river edges across the Palearctic, including northwest Africa. They nest on the ground with little or no plant growth. Both males and females take turns incubating their eggs. When the nest or young are threatened, the birds perform the broken wing display to try draw the threat away from the vulnerable young. They're migratory and winter in Africa. These birds forage for food on muddy areas and eat insects and worms.
There's a woodchuck shrike right on the end of this tree here. So these are what the typical views are like of the western side, unfortunately all very distant. There's hundreds of flamingos in there. So if you're going to be birding here proper, I suggest bringing a scope with you so that you can look into the interior of the salt pans.
Another bird that gives black-winged stilt a run for its money in regards to numbers are Kentish plover. They are very numerous around the park, but not so much elsewhere on the island, so this is definitely a little hotspot for them. And again, the southern road will give you cracking views of this little wader. Little egret are also numerous in the park, noted by its dark bill, long black legs, and yellow feet. They have a truly massive range across Europe, Africa, and most of Asia, and down through Australia and into New Zealand. These birds are sociable, and here on Ibiza, they roost overnight in small flocks in the middle of the Salinas, which you can see flying out every morning.
Okay, I'm just using my car as a hide, but they are literally just on the top here.
Like with most of the birds around Salinas National Park, this road is also the best place to see flamingos from. They're used to cars, bikes, and trucks passing by, so aren't really bothered. But of course, if you get out the car and try and approach them, they'll fly, so a bit of stealth is needed here to get a good pic.
Okay, I've just come down to the restaurant in the southwest corner of the salt pans. This site is historically good for Balearic warblers. However, when I tried 10 years ago, I dipped miserably. So just for a bit of fun, I just want to pop back and see if I can find them here. Just to put that sort of long running glitch in my little Ibiza birding book to rest kind of thing. So I believe the spot is up behind the restaurant. I can't for the life of me remember how I got there. So I'm just going to sort of go to the beach and turn left and see what I can find.
At the time of filming this restaurant on the western side of the Salinas is called the Experimental Beach Restaurant and Bar.
So if you walk in to the beach and then left up onto the rocks here, this is where you'll find the eBird pin for Balearic warblers. And like I said 10 years ago, I dipped miserably here. I'm still feeling a little bit scarred about that, so I want to try and, just for fun, put that to bed. Considering that I'm having so much good luck with Balearics, I thought I'd give them a try here. Yes, this is all coming back to me now. Whether they'll be this far down, I'm not sure. They like a little bit of altitude. So I'm not even going to try here. I'm going to go towards the hill there and then give it a go. No, I think that's cicada. Twitchy. So the other day I had a Balearic round the corner there, so they are here. Okay, I'm just going to go a little higher. So there's the sort of restaurant and the beach area. It's a nice view over the wetland as well, so that's the western section. And then the eastern section is just across the road on that side. And then in the non-breeding season you can actually walk this pathway here, which will give you great views either side on the beach and then into the salt pans. Alright, I would imagine from like here onwards we'd be good, or just a little bit closer to that mountain area. Like I said before, desperately low on raptors as well. The only bird I've seen literally is one common kestrel. No Eleonoras, no peregrines, no hobbies, nothing. Not one. So we are going to be spending one evening looking at sundowners, or having sundowners on that side. So hopefully I'll pick up something there. Okay. Okay, I can hear Sardinian warblers. Ah, I think I'm hearing something. On the floor, yeah, on the floor. Unreal. So yeah, like I said, they like a little bit of elevation. I think that was too close where I was 10 years ago. novice me. So just flew across here. It's still there, in low in this tree here. I had a feeling they'd be on the slightly raised section. You can hear them all around. There's one in here. There's one up there foraging. And there's one in here. And another one. That's 4. Right here. Going across in. And then there's one over here. Another one here. So 2 Balearics just flew across this gap here from this side, across into here. I can hear another one behind me. So yeah, they seem to be doing well on Ibiza, which is good. That's Sardinian. I can hear a bird in here somewhere. That's their little contact call. That's right at the top here. Flying across top of the pine. Just in the top of that pine there. Unfortunately it's a bit obscured and I don't think you'll be seen much with this wide angle lens of mine. Okay, so finally put that painful dip from 10 years ago to bed. Balearic warblers down by the restaurant following the eBird pin, which I did and dipped miserably. So yeah, so if you come here to try for the Balearic warblers, you don't want to be anywhere near the restaurant, you want to be up on the slopes here, up into these pines just below this hill. All up here is good. So nice family parties, 4 or 5 birds, but unfortunately not as confiding as the Saturnalia birds. They seem to be spooked quite easily. This will be the parking for the restaurant, so you don't want to park in this section, but you can park out here and all the way along the road in front. Got more Sardinian warblers calling here in the car park. Staff are all setting up for the day. Any crazy bird is out at this time of the morning. Had a spotted flycatcher, turtle dove, linnet and seren up there as well, by the way, and of course Sardinian warbler. Okay, just driving out of the western side past the salt works, which is the only way in and out on this single track road. So I've just parked back at the little church, and this is where the accident was this morning. You can see the aftermath here. Front bumper still lying here, smashed box. Yeah, I think they hit this bollard because that wasn't there yesterday. So I had a look at the car driving past. It was completely mullered.
I hope you enjoyed the jewel in Ibiza's birding crown, Salinas National Park with me. Next time we visit Satalea, the highest point in Ibiza, on the search for yet more Balearic warblers, and then do a bit of farmland birding in the interior of Ibiza, so stay tuned for that.